There, I should have known. Thank you so much. Good evening. This is Manhattan Community Board 2's January full board meeting. If you do have a conversation you're carrying on, it echoes in here, and I want to make sure that everyone can hear us on Zoom and in the room. So if you could take your conversation kindly outside, that would be fantastic. This is Manhattan Community Board 2's January full board meeting. I'm Valerie Della Rosa, the chair of Manhattan Community Board 2. Welcome to everyone joining us here in the room at NYU and on Zoom. We will start with attendance, and I will turn over to our secretary, Emma Smith, and then we will go to our council member, Chris Marte, who's here. So attendance, please.
Thank you, Valerie. Good evening, folks. Can you hear me okay? Awesome. Okay. Susanna Aaron. William Benesh is absent with notification. Keen Berger is absent with notification. Carter Booth. Katie Bordenaro. Anita Brand. Amy Brenna is absent with notification. Rich Cacapolo. Ritu Chatri. Nina Chen.
Here.
Thanks, Nina. Gotcha. Valerie De La Rosa. Chris Dignas. Arturo Fernandez. Mara Fitzgerald. Okay. Stella Fitzgerald is absent with notification. Cormac Flynn is absent with notification. Susan Gammy. David Gruber.
Here.
Thank you, David.
Remote.
Thank you. JJ Herrera. JJ? Okay. DJ Jane. Thank you. Juliet Kay. Susan Kent. Ryder Kessler. Janine Kiley. Okay. Patricia Laria. Janet Liff. Benjamin Listman. Ed Ma. I don't think I see him online yet. Okay, I'll keep an eye out. Paul McDade. Erica Olson. Brian Pape. Donna Raftery. Lois Rakoff is absent with notification. Bo Riccobono. Sean Ryan is absent with notification. Rocio Sands. Shirley Secunda. Eddie Siegel. Frederica Siegel. Emma Smith, present. Dr. Shirley Smith.
Present online.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Chenault Spence.
Here.
Thanks, Chenault. Sean Sweeney. Monica Weiss is absent with notification. Susan Wittenberg. Anthony Wong. Eugene Yu. Excellent, and we do have quorum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emma. So now we're going to go to our council member, Chris Marte.
Hello, everyone. I guess I can still say Happy New Year because I haven't seen many of you since last year. As you all know, we started a new term in the City Council, and our first order of business is that we elected Julie Menon as Speaker of the City Council. Some of you know her because she used to be a downtown resident for over 30 years. And so, I'm really excited about, her vision and her work ethic. And I think we're going to be passing a lot of bills this year from the City Council. So, with that, she also appointed new chairs for committee, and I'm honored to be serving the subcommittee for landmark site deposition, public siting, and we also included resiliency in that, so really covers a lot of what CB2 discusses, from future 9A resiliency projects to protecting our landmarks and making sure that when we build on public land, we make it affordable. And so I look forward to working with everyone here in that subcommittee. I'm also on the Committee of Finance, which is a big one in the City Council as we get into this budget year. I'm also in Aging, Parks, Transportation, and Aging, if I haven't said that. So a really good group of committees to be on, and I think these committees really touch the lives of everyone in our district. Also today, probably in a few hours, I'm going to be elected as the new co-chair of the BLAC caucus, the Black, Latino, Asian caucus, which is the largest caucus in the City Council. So I'll be honored to have that role as well. Let me quickly tell you what we've been doing since Connor last spoke in December. A few things are today, actually, we had a meeting with SLA and DOT. We had representatives from Community Board 2, Community Board 1, and Community Board 3. It was organized by Councilmember Harvey Epstein. We also had offices or representatives from our state electeds in that meeting. And it was talking about, the past, the present, and future of liquor licenses and outdoor establishments, and talking about timing when SLA says someone can only give out liquor until 10 or 10:30, but DOT is saying they can be out there until midnight, and just finding all the inefficiencies and the misconnections that we have between the state agency and the city agency. And I thought it was a really productive meeting. It was great to have DOT there so they can hear and from SLA themselves. And I think SLA wants to be a really good partner. And I think for us is making sure that DOT becomes that good partner to really resolve a lot of the issues that we have in Lower Manhattan, right? I think it really affects us downtown more than any other part of the district. Even SLA said that there was around 600 or so applicants that have applied to have liquor licenses with outdoor dining, and 400 of those are in our districts. And we all know there's probably a lot more than 400 that are doing it, probably illegally. And so it's making sure that we work together with community boards, elected officials, and these agencies to fix the issue before it becomes a bigger issue. As well as myself and all the elected officials along Canal Street, we wrote a letter to the new administration saying that we want a multi-agency task force to really talk about and discuss what's happening on Canal Street. We've recently saw ice raids there, but even before the ice raids, the situation there was getting out of control, and I felt like the past administration really didn't do anything to help residents, help small businesses, or even help the vendors. And the city council passed really progressive and landmark vending legislation that I think are going to help the vendors to actually get permitted, to make sure that they're also protected from any actions that happen in the future. And so we're looking forward to them to actually have this meeting with all these agencies, similar to what they did in Washington Square Park, where they brought everyone together. They did a walkthrough. They've been having continuous meetings, and I got to say, it's much better there in just 2 years of just meeting, and I want to see that replicated down on Canal Street. In addition, as many of you know, ICE has been parking their cars at Pier 40. The news broke out yesterday. Today, I wrote a letter, and we had many of our co-elected officials like Councilmember Eric Botcher and others sign on to it, saying that that contract should immediately end. We should not wait until June to allow them to be there. There's a lot of people that use the field there, a lot of delivery workers that go up and down, the West Side Greenway, and having an ICE presence right there is extremely dangerous. And it is kind of like quasi-state property, and we should be able to enforce our will for those types of contracts like we've done in the past. Let's see. Later in February, we're going to be hosting our 3rd annual Black History Month event that we do in the African Burial Ground. We're definitely going to, once we lock down a date, it seems like it's going to be February 21st, but we'll be sharing a lot more info, I believe, later next week. And we're just doing regular business. There's a lot of new commissioners. My office has reached out to every single agencies to line up all the issues that we've been working on with the previous administration. Hopefully we can continue to work with the new administration to move these forward. So happy to take any questions. I try to keep it as quick as I could.
Any questions for the council member from board members? Ryder?
Hi.
Yeah.
Can you, is this on?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I want to ask about potential overrides of the vetoes that Mayor Adams issued on his way out. I'm particularly interested in the street vending package that I think you were co-sponsoring, that Pirina Sanchez was leading. Really appreciated that, and curious if you think the council will override that veto.
I believe so. I feel like from the discussions that we've had, and we really haven't had a proper Democratic conference yet, it seems like most council members are still on board with it, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be much of an issue.
Great. Thank you.
Rocio, did you have your hand up? Do you have a microphone? Well, we can't. Great.
Thank you for coming tonight, and I just wanted to ask you, what do you think is the probability that COPA, Community Opportunity to Purchase Act, will be back on the agenda for this? And does everybody realize what the dire consequences of passing this type of resolution or bill would be to real estate in New York City, and how they will take our property rights away, unconstitutional totally? And what do you think is going to happen next? Even with the tweaks that were made, it's not sufficient to bar us from being able to express our constitutional rights.
You know, it did pass with a veto-proof majority, and so I always find it hard for someone to vote against what they voted for just a month ago. Of course, winds always change and new issues always arise, but I feel like it will move forward.
Move forward, in other words, it will pass?
I believe so. I'm not a betting man. If I had to bet on it, I think it would pass.
That's bad. Thank you.
I get it.
Are there any other questions from board members in the room or board members on Zoom for Councilmember Marte? I see a hand raised, but I can't see who it is. Chenault?
It's mine.
Okay. Hi.
I'm Chenault Spence, the chair of the Landmarks Committee. And on behalf of the committee, I would like to welcome you and say how delighted we are to have a person so close to us taking care of this. And I'd like to ask if you might be planning to add a meeting similar to the SLA meeting that you mentioned that would bring together us and general landmarks.
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy to meet with all the landmarks committees in my district on the community boards. You know, I feel like we have a really great opportunity with this committee. Typically, it's just kind of like a procedural subcommittee where we get applications, but we really don't do oversight or pass new legislation in regards to landmarks. And I think that's what I want to do with it. I want it to be an organizing platform to talk about a lot of these issues. For example, one good issue that's in my district in Community Board 2 is 139 Thompson Street. We have a building in a historic district that a landlord is choosing to fall apart, evict tenants, demolish the building, and probably going to build a luxury condo. But within the current building now, there's rent stabilized units. So that means this city is going to lose units because of the greed of a landlord. As chair of the Landmarks Committee, I want to use this to make sure that we protect not just our landmark buildings, but especially the ones that have rent stabilized units that we would never get back if it's gone. And so I definitely want to meet and do a lot with you. And, you know, I'll send you an email tomorrow so we can touch base.
And we'll be dealing with that this evening
Yes.
in a
I heard,
resolution. Yeah. So we're right on it. And having the most landmark area in the city, we can keep you busy on that. Thank you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Erica Olson?
Hi, sorry, I can't see you. There,
Yeah.
sorry. Kind of building on Chenault's point, on that committee, I vice chair the Street Activities and Resiliency Committee here, which is like 99% street activities and 1% resiliency. And we are looking in the new year to do more on resiliency. And I wondered if the committee has been thinking about that, or are there any big projects or topics that we could kind of build off of that you guys are discussing?
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I requested for resiliency to be part of this subcommittee is because we've been doing a lot of resiliency work, not just in Lower Manhattan, but throughout the city. But we really haven't talked about what has worked, what has been done, what are we going to do now, especially in this current federal administration that's trying to cut funding for resiliency projects, and have that discussion on a city council level. And so I'm excited to partner with my community boards to like have these discussions and really use it as a ground up. You know, there's There's a lot of projects. We had a huge project on the east side of my district with the East Coast Resiliency Project, which was extremely controversial. But one thing that we did locally there was that we talked about what worked and didn't work as we move forward with BMCR, the Brooklyn Bridge to the Montgomery Coastal Resiliency Project, and there hasn't been any issues. So, you can work on resiliency. That's a win-win for residents that live there, for the future of our city, but you have to have these really tough discussions in between projects to make sure that everyone understands what's happening and how we can improve the process. And now I want to take that on a more citywide level to make sure that what they're doing in Staten Island, what they did in Sunset Park, what they're going to do in the Bronx, we all learn from it and we all work together to make it better.
Microphone, please. Sean, if you'd like to ask a question, I can call on you with the microphone. I mean, it's fine. It's just you just need to get you a microphone, so I need help in the audience.
So landmarks is a subcommittee?
Yes.
Of which greater committee?
The Land Use Committee. So the Land Use Committee has two subcommittees. One is zoning and franchise. So whenever there's a rezoning, spot rezoning, citywide rezoning, it would go through there. But almost literally anything else on land use will come through the landmark site deposition, public siting, and resiliency. For example, a few things that we have on our agenda next Tuesday is actually Tom Angotti, a pretty world-renowned urban planner, is actually given up land so he could be part of New York City Parks. And that's the first New York City Park acquisition of land in a really long time. Another proposal, we have 2 historic districts in Brooklyn that are going to be on that list of hearings. So it's a little bit of everything. Whenever a developer buys land or leases land from the city, it goes through that committee. So like 100 Gold Street will eventually come to that committee. And I'm sure there's a few projects on the northern part of CB2 that will probably go through that committee as well.
Rocio, can we get you a microphone? I can call on you.
Yeah.
You mentioned 139 Thompson Street, and it's very easy to make global statements about the conditions of the building or what the landlord decided or didn't want to do.
Yeah.
But do you know, have you looked into what the expenses and the rental income of that building, and why was it potentially that the landlord decided to abandon the building or to use negligence and not taking care of it? Do you think that perhaps the rents were not enough in order to cover the expenses? But so what do you know about it?
Typically as a council office, landlords reach out to us and we reach out to landlords to help them when they ask for help. There's a lot of programs statewide to especially help buildings in historic districts. And so the motive of the landlord, I don't know. We've heard from former tenants about their perspective on the issue, and that's who, we want to make sure that we don't lose rent stabilized apartments, right? It's clear as that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I don't see any other hands. There's a hand online, or is that still Chenault? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilmember
Awesome.
Marte.
Thank you, everyone. Take
Great.
care.
So now, if there are no other principals here, I will turn this over to Eugene Yu, our first vice chair, to run the public session.
All right. Thank you, Valerie. So I will start off the public session. Just a reminder for anyone, if you have not filled out a speaker form, which you could have picked up at the entrance or signed up online, I will call or ask for a show of hands for anyone that would like to speak after the speakers that have filled out a speaker card have been allowed to give testimony. I will start with the cards that we have in the room, and a reminder, speakers will have 2 minutes to speak. I will give a quick warning before your 2 minutes are up, but please try and keep it within the 2 minutes so we have time for everyone to give their testimony. So first, we have Jacob Solig, who is here to speak about a cannabis resolution. If you could come up to the front, to the microphone. Yes, and you have 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is Jacob Solig. I live at 805 Greenwich Street, and I just want to express my support for the CB2 Cannabis Board resolution to deny this application. Thank you.
Great, thank you. That was very short and sweet. Any questions for Jacob? Okay. Next, we have Anita Scher here to speak about 66 Jane Dispensary. If you can also come up to the front and at the microphone, again, you will have 2 minutes to speak.
Hi.
Oh.
Can you hear me? Okay.
We can bring this.
Height challenged. Thank you. Okay. Hi, good evening. Anita Scher at 822 Greenwich Street. And like my neighbor Jake, I too am in opposition to the cannabis license. I do want to thank so much the committee for their strongly worded resolution. Looks terrific, and I hope the whole board also supports the resolution as well to deny this license. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Anita. Next, we have, this looks like a repeat. No, Sam Solig, here to speak about 66 Jane Street.
Hello, everyone. I also would just like to express my support for the recommendation to deny the permit for a cannabis shop at 66 Jane Street.
Great. Thank you, Sam. Next, we have, let's see, Linda Guest. Great, thank you. And you, again, just a reminder, you have 2 minutes.
So,
One, we'll get that.
yeah, go ahead. So, good night. Thanks to the community board for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Linda Guest, and I own an upcoming CPR business in New York called The Preservatory, LLC. So I'm just here to tell New York the good news that I offer basic life support, first aid, CPR, and AED training. I also offer extra study time with the mannequins. And I also offer child and babysitting safety. So for anybody interested in asking more questions about my services, I have flyers here that you could take pictures of so that way you can make better decisions for yourself. And I hope to see you when you book. Thank you.
Susanna,
Thank
can you
you.
get
I
a
think there's a
microphone for
question.
Susanna? Susanna has a question, and then we're going to go to Councilmember Harvey Epstein in just 1 minute.
Hi, this work. Yeah, just can you tell me again where you're doing this? Are you doing this in this district or?
Yes, I service the 4 boroughs of Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, and the Bronx, and I rent a venue depending on the minimum amount of students necessary for the class. So
Great.
I do it every month, and it's really up to the circumstances of how many students I get and how long the people want to stay and things like that. It's going to
Great.
determine the date and the time and whatnot, but
Thank
I
you.
am certified, so it's about if the service is best for you. If not, thank you for listening.
Thanks. And you're not a not-for-profit organization. You're just a sole
Yes, I am a
contractor.
CPR business. I am a
Thank you very
for-profit
much.
business. I'm not for profit.
Thank you so much.
Okay, great. So and thank you so much. We're going to interrupt the public session and have our council member Harvey Epstein speak.
Hi, everyone. All right. Hi, everyone. How are you all doing today? Yeah, yeah. Well, folks who don't know me, my name is Harvey Epstein. I've been an assembly member on the east side for the last 8 years. I won a city council race last year. I've been in office now 6 weeks, so new on the job, but not new to these issues. You know, we have Monica from my team who's here. She's our representative. Yay, Monica, thank you. And so we have a board report, lots of information, things are going on. I really want to thank the board today where we had, I think, a really interesting meeting. I don't know, did you talk about this meeting at all? Or did Chris talk about it?
He briefly addressed it, but I have not done the chair's report yet. But please,
right.
you led it, so.
Yeah, Chris should take the credit for a meeting I organized, but I love that. No, it's funny. Chris is a good friend. So we had we've been talking a lot about SLA issues. We've had down in Lower Manhattan, we've had this convening with the State Liquor Authority every year to talk about issues that are going on. And at the last meeting we had, I think 3 months ago, it was an issue of, the kind of conversation between SLA and DOT around the sidewalk permits, kind of the new rules and how they're impacting neighborhoods. So we had the meeting today with SLA and DOT in the room. I think it was a really healthy conversation to show the work that we've done with the SLA over the last 5 years to really open up dialogue and communication, and hopefully getting DOT to be better partners in this work, because it's our neighborhood. We want small businesses to thrive, but we also live in community and we want to be more of a partner. And I think that message came through to DOT today, I hope, and hopefully when we have regular meetings and hearing our concerns around making sure that we have active nightlife, but we have community engagement, I think we'll hear the balance. So that was really hopeful. So we have a lot of activities that we're doing in the neighborhood. We have events like Black History Month. We have an event over at Williams Jennings Bryant Gallery. It's in our newsletter. It's a Black-owned gallery in the East Side. We always do an annual Black History Month event. We'd love people to come. If people have questions or concerns, we're happy to be engaged on those issues. I really love this stuff. For people who don't know, I was a community board member for way too long, I think 14, 15 years, and I was the former chair of Board 3, a sister community board, so I understand what you all do, and I understand the time and energy and commitment you make to it. So, I really want to take that seriously. When issues come up, it's really important for us to listen to you and to make sure there's an open dialogue. So that's really our goal. Our goal is to make sure that we work together to make the neighborhood be better. We're not always going to agree on everything, because my wife and I don't always agree on everything, but I think it's really important that you know that we're here to help, and we're here to hear, and we're here to try to solve problems. And that's really our work. And if there's a question, I'm happy to take it.
Susanna?
Hi there. Thanks for being here. And I should have asked this to Councilmember Chris Martin as well. Since you all have the ear of the SLA,
Yeah.
There's something that I've always think we lack, which is this community board and others spend a lot of time on stipulations that the operator agrees to, but then those are not posted anywhere. So when we walk by a bar and the windows are open, we have no idea if they are allowed to be open or if they agreed to close them at 9, and there's really no way to find that out. So if there was a way that could be part of the operator's license, or that there was a database that community members could go to see what the operators have agreed to, that would be enormously helpful.
That's a great idea, and if I was still a state legislator, I would do a bill, but since I'm not, I will talk to our colleagues, but I'll ask my team to write a letter to Chair Fan about figuring out how we get those terms of the stipulations publicly posted so the community actually knows what they've agreed to. Because I think it's really important to know if someone says they're going to close outside at 10 p.m., they actually close at 10 p.m., or they say they're going to close their windows, they close their windows. Most liquor establishments and most places, I think, are really good actors, but I've lived on Avenue A for longer than I want to say, and I know there are some bad actors out there because I've raised my kids in the neighborhood, and I understand what that impact has on families. So I think we just need to make sure that they're aligned to the commission commitments they made. So that makes a lot of sense.
Rocio.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Sure.
And you mentioned that you want to help the constituents, help the people. That's wonderful. The decisions that you make and the votes that you take on different bills that come before you don't just impact the community that you represent. They impact the whole city. So why I'm saying this is because at times, you have neglected or refused to speak to people that are not in your immediate district. So I would hope that now you understand that the votes and decisions that you make will impact the rest of the city, and not just the constituents in your particular neighborhood. So I would appreciate that you reconsider and help everyone that needs help, whether you're voting for you or not, or in your community. Thank you.
Yeah, just to that point, I do want to respect my colleagues in government. And, when I was a state legislator, I met with constituents all the time and advocacy groups all the time on issues we would agree and disagree on. I do also want to say if someone lived in, say, Assemblymember Glick's district instead of my district, I would encourage them to go speak to Assemblymember Glick because she was their representative. That doesn't mean we don't hear from advocacy groups, but it's my responsibility to respect my colleagues in government. And as a city council member, I do the same. Whether if someone lives in Councilmember Marte's district, I think it's really important that they speak directly to Councilmember Marte about their concerns. It doesn't mean, the bills that I've passed, has impacted millions of people. Some people think they have been positive impacts. I'm sure some people think they're negative impacts. But the responsibility is to represent the constituents the best way we can and understand the city or, at that point, statewide policy implications of the decisions we're making. But I think it's really respectful to our colleagues to make sure that they are hearing directly from their constituents instead of me kind of overstepping them and talking to their constituents when on an issue that they can talk to me about. If Assemblymember Glick had a concern about something I was doing, she felt very free to talk to me. And same thing, where Councilmember Marte or Councilmember Botcher, we have really open lines of communication, and we will continue to do that.
Well, it's good not to turn away people from you.
Say what?
It's good not to turn away people from you.
Yeah, I try never to turn anyone away from me, but I also want to respect. What?
We don't need a lot of back and forth if we could. Is there any other questions from board members for Councilmember Epstein in the room or on Zoom from board members?
All right, well, thank you all. Have a good January, and I'm sure
Great
I'll see you all
to see you.
soon.
Thanks for taking the time.
Take care.
I'm going to turn it back over to our first vice chair, Eugene Yu.
Thank you, Valerie. We'll continue with the public session in the room. Rodney Clara, if you could come up. Great, and if you could just let us know what you're here to speak about. You have 2 minutes.
My name is Rodney Clara. I'm with Big Belly Solar, and I'm speaking to waste containerization within the local bids and even in the neighborhoods. Currently, our company has solar-powered bins that are smart bins. They actually have software that speaks to the people that empty them. It allows you to get 5 to 7 times more compactation of waste in it. You will see these bins in downtown, Downtown Alliance, Times Square Alliance. You'll see them in Hudson Square. You'll see them in Downtown Brooklyn Alliance. And the reason why I say that is because I was out in Soho the other day doing some Christmas shopping, and I went down for dinner the other day, and I noticed you had one of your bins that was tipped over in this area, and the trash was all over the place. So our bins don't tip over. They actually tell you when they're full. So I wanted to be able to speak here just so that I have a broader audience, just the bids, as well as if you look around in the New York parks, a lot of the parks next to Soho and in all these neighborhoods will have our bins. So they're really great bins. They provide you the data you need. You can actually track your trash. You know how much is being thrown away. And we also do all of the compost bins. So if you get to see those orange compost bins out in the city, definitely use them. They're really super cool. You download a QR code, you throw your compost in there, and we're spreading those throughout the city and expanding that as well for residents in New York City. So I just wanted to be able to speak, and just if you have any questions, if the board has any questions, of course you have my information. I would love to chat with you about it.
Susanna, if you could get a microphone, we could get your question. Could someone help out? Thank you.
I'm going to hope and guess that you're familiar with all the bids in our district.
I am.
Okay, good. And what is the price of these bins, and how does that compare to? I mean, I'm going to to city bins. I'm going to guess that if people aren't buying them, it's because they're expensive.
Well, no, it's not that they're expensive. So this is a larger topic I would think to take offline, because I don't want to bother you too much with it. But what you're buying is you're buying not only the bin, you're buying software, you're buying a bin that doesn't allow wind-blown trash, you're buying a bin that does not allow rodents to get into it. It reduces rodent infestation drastically in neighborhoods. You'll see that's why they're in parks now, because it reduces rodent infestation in the parks.
Thank you. Thank you. You're right. It's a better conversation offline. Just want to make sure you know the bids.
Susan?
Yay!
That the orange compost bins work like a charm.
Thank you.
And make a huge contribution to reducing the waste here. And the app is perfect. It all works brilliantly.
Thanks to DSNY. They're great partners with this.
Susan Wittenberg?
Hi, just a quick follow-up on Susanna's point. For example, have you been in touch with the bid on Broadway, the Soho Broadway bid?
A good question. I have tried to get a hold of the Soho bid, but it seems a little more ambiguous as who to contact. So I'm hoping eventually that I can get some help from the board or help from someone in the audience to find that contact.
I'm the CB2 rep on that bid.
Excellent.
That's why I wanted to say hello to you, because we'd like to, I can help you connect with them. I think it's very important.
Great. I'll give you my card.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Anyone else? No? All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Rodney. All right. I'll move on to speakers online through the Zoom. We have signed up to speak Pete Davies. Pete, if you could, someone could elevate him.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I came tonight. My name is Pete Davies. I'm a longtime resident of Soho, nearby 139 Thompson Street. And I came tonight to just shine a spotlight on the 3 resolutions that you'll be considering tonight. Councilmember Marte already gave some introduction to it. There are some very odd parts to what started as a landmarks application to demolish a protected building that has 19 residential units, 12 of which are rent stabilized. And the plan is to demolish the building and build something that has 6 or 7 units. So that's a loss right there of a dozen units and a dozen rent stabilized units. So there's stuff that needs looking into, and I hope you consider the resolutions and support them. And that's all I have to say. I want to welcome Councilmember Marte to this new year and congratulate him on being on the Landmark Subcommittee, and look forward to all the new electeds that we're going to be having representing our district in the coming year. So thanks a lot and have a good evening.
No? Okay, thank you. All right, and so if there is anyone else, either in the room or online, you can raise your hand if you'd like to speak in the public session. Otherwise, we'll close the public session and go back to Valerie.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't see who it is. Like, I physically can't see. So you're wanting to speak during the public session? Okay, so I'm going to we're going to reopen the public session, and I'm going to hand it back over to First Vice Chair Yu.
Hello. Yes, so if you could come up, please. Was there someone else that also had their hand raised? It was just... Okay, so if you could just let us know your name and then what you would like to speak about, and then you'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Verdery Roosevelt, and I am a board member of HB Studio and the HB Playwrights Foundation. I'm joined tonight by Christopher Hibma and Francesca Ferrara, who are our co-executive leadership. HB Studio is a nonprofit theater institution founded in 1945 by Herbert Berghoff and Uta Hagen. We are located at 120, 122, and 124 Bank Street and have been a part of this neighborhood for generations. Our buildings are deeply meaningful to us, but they are also each a century old. They face serious challenges such as deferred maintenance, access and barriers to access, structural limitations, all of which prevent us from fully realizing our mission. Over the past year, HB Board and leadership, with expert guidance and full community input, conducted a careful review of our facilities. That process made it clear that doing nothing was not an option. As a result, we have placed our Bank Street properties on the market. This will allow us to responsibly evaluate all paths forward, including redevelopment, relocation, or a hybrid solution that ensures our long-term stability. We recognize the value of community space in this neighborhood and are currently able to use approximately 16,000 square feet for our classes, rehearsals, and artistic projects. But the site can support 32,000 square feet for nonprofit institutions that are seeking to expand. We would be grateful for any suggestions or connections you could offer. We are in active conversation with our
2
elected
minutes.
officials and neighborhood partners, including Greenwich House, West Beth, and the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts. We invite you to visit our space and see it firsthand. Our program information is available on our website, and for property information, the public listing is on revere.com.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for your care of our neighborhood.
All right, thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak in the public session? No? Okay, I don't see anyone online as well. I'll turn it back to you, Valerie.
Thank you. Now we have is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Are there any amendments for the agenda? Is there a motion to adopt? I have a first from Susanna Aaron. I have a second from Susan Gammy. Thank you. And next we will go to reports to the public for our elected official reports. So I'm going to call on from Councilmember Bottcher's office, Carl.
Good evening, everybody. Very nice to be here. Pleased to offer this report on behalf of Councilmember Bottcher. My name is Carl Wilson. I'm Chief of Staff to the council member. I would like to share that Local Law 51, which was our authored bill on scaffolding reform, is officially in effect. This bill sets time limits for the amount of time that scaffolding can be up. Once the permits are filed, there is a 5-month window to submit the construction documents. There's an 8-month window to pull your permits, and then the work has to be done within 2 years. There are reasonable exceptions to this. If there is hardship, which does happen, you can extend that, but this we hope to see stop the abuse of scaffolding that is all over the city, and very much so in Council District 3. Coming up next week, we're going to be doing a policy perspective conversation with Dara Gordon, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Family Equality. They do advocacy, education, and connection for LGBT families and their allies. It's going to be on the 29th, and it'll be at 5 p.m., and that is a virtual conversation, so you can join from the comfort of your living room. And then I did want to just give a note about the continuity of service in the council. Some of you may know it looks very much like Councilmember Botcher will only be council member for a few more weeks, as he is likely to be elected to the state Senate to replace Senator Hoylman. When that happens, as I think you've probably been through already with Carlina Rivera, when there is a vacancy, the Speaker of the City Council will send staff from the Community Engagement Division of the central staff at the City Council to take over the constituent service and council business that will need to happen while the seat is vacated. So even though, and for would be a period of months until there's a election later in the spring, but there will still be representatives to help you and work with you, and you should work with the council office. And for a few more weeks, Nicole Barth will still be there too. So that's all for me.
Okay, are there any questions for Carl? I see Rocio, and then I can't see who's, okay, so these are for board members to ask questions to the council. I apologize for not outlining that. So again, during the elected official reports, the questions are from board members, and 5 minutes for principals and 2 minutes for representatives.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Good to see you.
It's great to see you.
Mm-hmm.
My question regarding the scaffolding, you mentioned that there will be applications for help when the property owner cannot comply within the time frame
Correct.
that is permitted by the new law.
Mm-hmm.
What is the length of time that the property owner could have for someone to look at the application, and will there be any kind of financial help, and how long would that take?
So it would require the submission of supporting documentation that details the hardship. DOB would be the agency that is reviewing and approving and working through those, working through that extension. I guess it would depend on the exact need about the amount of time for the review, but it would be the Department of Buildings that would make those determinations.
So you have no idea how long it would take?
It would depend on the circumstance and the so I don't know. It's hard for me to say for all properties that it would need this, but it would depend on the situation. But they would have to submit supportive documentation outlining the hardship to DOB, who would review it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any questions from board members for Carl on Zoom or in the room? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Great. And so if we can get, I apologize, I didn't do my normal script. So if we could also have, I know I saw a couple here, I saw Peter up here. If there are any other elected or rep reports. So if you want to come just up here, that'd be great. Just maybe line up so that we can go just, thank you. Go ahead, Peter.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Peter Say, representing Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Good to see all of you. I have some updates, indictments, prosecutions, and sentencing. It can get quite lengthy, so I'm just going to briefly summarize it. If you have any specific questions on the cases I'm talking about, you can speak to me on the side. So first, one now, the indictment of Dana Escoffier for allegedly fatally shoving his 82-year-old neighbor to the ground in the West Village, October 2025. Escoffier is charged in the New York State Supreme Court indictment for 1 count of criminally negligent homicide and assault in the 3rd degree. Next, we have a guilty plea for Alejandro Pedra, fatally stabbing 38-year-old Clemson Cockfield and injuring 2 others in the East Village June 2024. Pedro pleaded guilty in New York State Supreme Court to 1 count each of murder in the second degree, attempted murder in the second degree, and assault in the second degree. Under the terms of this plea, he's expected to be sentenced on April 20th to 18 years to life in state prison. Finally, Daniel Hayden was sentenced to 24 years to life in state prison for driving while intoxicated during the 4th of July, crashing into a crowd of people at Cortlandt Hook Park, killing 4 people, injuring 7 others. That was that. And then finally, Manhattan District Attorney applauds Governor Hochul's signing of the Support Act that was sponsored by then State Senator Brad Hoylman Siegel, now Manhattan Borough President. Support Act closes a loophole. Previously, if a defendant was found unfit to stand trial on a misdemeanor case, his case is automatically dismissed. Now, with the passage and the signage of the Support Act, this gives more mandates to offer services. That's it. Last thing is, I have flyers. Our high school internship program is open for applications on January 26th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Rocio?
Thank you so much for coming every month. I really enjoy listening to you speak. My question is, most of us know what happens when somebody drinks alcohol, is under the influence of alcohol, and they get tested. We know they they get the blood work done. What about marijuana? How do they test for that if somebody is driving under the influence of marijuana and gets into an accident? What do they do? How do they prove that?
I have the exact details how that's done. That may be a question more appropriate to PD because they're the ones making the stoppage. We're prosecuting. If you need to know more, I can find out and speak to you on the side about it.
Thanks. Okay. Any other questions from board members for Peter from the Manhattan DA's office on Zoom or in the room? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Evelyn Collado. I'm the Manhattan Borough Director for the New York City Comptroller. You know, it's a new year, it's a new administration. The new comptroller is the Honorable Mark Levine, but you're still an email away from our agency. You can find me at ecollad@comptroller.nyc.gov. ecollad@comptroller.nyc.gov. Thank you.
Okay. Don't see any questions from board members. Right? Hey, Sharif.
Hey everyone.
I have a question. I have a question for her.
Okay. If someone could help at the Zoom, it's not very clear to see. Dr. Smith, hello.
Hi. How
Who
are
do you
you?
have a question? Hi. Wonderful. Do you have a question for Evelyn from?
I do.
Okay.
Yes. the
Wonderful.
young lady who
Evelyn's
just
coming back
spoke.
up.
Okay. Hi, Evelyn. How are you? And welcome. You gave your name and your contact. What is your position there? And what do you do? What are you responsible for?
Yes, I'm the Manhattan Borough Director, so your liaison to the Comptroller's Office for the borough.
Okay, for our community board too?
Yes, the
Okay.
entire borough. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Good luck.
Sure.
Give my regards to Mark.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Smith. Sharif.
Hi, thanks. Hi, everyone. Sharif Krabti. I'm a community affairs liaison for State Senator Brian Kavanaugh. I don't know if I should wish you a happy new year. We're almost done with January. Blaine and I were having a debate about this, but I hope it's going well for 2026. Just some quick updates on the community side. We started a few weeks ago the new year with Mulch Fest, which is great to see many of you out there at the park. Senator Kavanaugh ventured to make, I think, 1 or 2 mulch puns. I think Eric Botcher definitely bested that, as he does every year. just goes to show why he will be a great state senator potentially. And I'll also just plug, as I did last month, our community town hall that we're co-hosting with Assemblymember Grace Lee. I put flyers on the table out there, so grab one of those, and we hope to see you out there. It's going to be February 5th, 6 to 7:30 at PS 20 on 166 Essex Street. And then some quick updates from Albany. As you may know, the legislative session started on the 7th, so we're a couple weeks in now. And the governor also just released her executive budget. So quick updates on our end for that. As you may know, Senator Kavanaugh is chair of the Housing Committee. And so with that in mind, some of the main updates are we advocated for $250 million in the state budget for HAVP, which is the Housing Access Voucher Program. It's a really important program to help New Yorkers stay in their homes. We got $50 million as part of an initial 4-year pilot for the program last year. We're asking for $250 this year. The governor put another $50 in her executive budget. So we're going to keep fighting to get that number up. We released a statement with advocates. We think this is a really important program, especially in these times. Another quick update is SCREE, DREE, SHE, and D. A lot of you are familiar with these programs, and I'll wrap it up quickly, but I did want to say that, saving the details of it, we advocated a lot on this issue last year, and we are excited to share the governor, in her State of the State address, advocated for $75,000 income threshold for SCREE and DREE, which is a huge boost from the $50,000 that's currently at. So we've amended our bill to do that, and we're looking forward to working together to make that reality for this legislative session. So thank you all, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Rocio?
Hi, thank you so much for coming. I think it was last month or the month before, we spoke about the insurance costs for property owners, and your committee and Senator Brian Kavanaugh was going to look into trying to put a cap onto the expense that property owners have to deal with. Insurance costs 40–50% higher than they were paying for the previous. So what's happening with that? And are we getting any closer to having some kind of relief? And I'm very happy to hear about $250 million that you would like to help renters so that renters can pay the rent so that the property owners can fix their buildings. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate the support on HAVP. We know that landlords and tenants alike, really, it's an important program. I'll say for the insurance piece, of course, I left my sheet of paper that had all of my updates on that because I figured I wouldn't have enough time in 2 minutes. So I can't reference it directly, but we had our hearing in November, went on for 9 hours. We heard from experts and stakeholders from various groups, insurance agencies, government agencies, residential property owners, et cetera, about what we think is driving these costs up. And so out of that, Senator Kavanaugh introduced 2 bills. One is basically increasing the transparency around the rates and getting some more data getting some more data about what we think is driving up those rates. Right now, it's a pretty opaque process behind the scenes of like how
Excuse me,
those rates are going.
Sheree. David, can you mute yourself, or can someone please mute David? Thank you.
And then the other bill is an omnibus bill, part of it would be allowing the state attorney general as well as other entities to sue from damages caused by natural disaster and things that would drive up the insurance rate. So we're basically, those are the 2 avenues we're looking at: transparency and also being able to sue for damages to help hold those corporations, for example, who are driving up climate disaster and making our rates higher as a result. We can sue for damages now because of that. So those are the 2 bills that we have already.
Great, thank you. All right, any other questions from board members for Sheree from State Senator Brian Kavanaugh's office? Okay, Brian.
Hi, just a quick question. Does your office sponsor any paper shredding events?
Great, but I appreciate that question about paper shredding. Sometimes it's not clear why it is so important to do it. But we don't have anything on the calendar right now for paper shredding, but I'd love to collaborate maybe with some of our elected colleagues, but to put something together for that. Yeah, I know that we got one in the office recently. Maybe we can put it to work at a bigger scale. So.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Hi, Lane.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. Lane Sohn, Community Liaison for Assemblymember Glick. So Sharif kind of stole my thunder on the Screedry announcement, but yeah, Assemblymember Glick was incredibly encouraged that Governor Hochul included an increase to the income cap for Screedry in her budget. So I'm looking forward to continuing the work on that. And then, as Sharif mentioned, session just started, and as chair of the Environmental Conservation Committee, Assemblymember Glick will be leading a joint legislative budget hearing next week on Wednesday, January 28th at 9:30 a.m. These hearings are intended to provide legislative committees with public input from agencies, organizations, and certain individuals. So all budget hearings are live streamed and available to watch if you're curious. And then actually on the Shred event, we do have one coming in April. I don't have the exact date, but I obviously will let the community board know, but you can look forward to that. And then lastly, just a fun update if you have young people in your lives. The Wildlife Conservation Society holds a volunteer internship fair for youth age 14 to 26. It's on February 7th at the Bronx Zoo. That's in our board report. If you know some young people who are animal lovers, we just wanted to elevate that because it was fun. But yeah, thanks so much. Nice to see you all, and any questions?
Thank you. Next, we have Andrew Chang from the Borough President's Office.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew from the Manhattan Borough President's Office. We have a new Manhattan Borough President. You guys are all pretty much familiar with him, Brad Hoyleman Siegel. I'm still available. My email's the same. My phone number's the same. This is our new CAU director.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Marielle Ali. Looking forward to getting to know you and work with you. Thank you for everything you do. I will say that again for our colleagues on Zoom. Marielle Ali. I am the new Director of Community Affairs for the Manhattan Borough President's Office. Andrew will continue to be your contact, but I'm here for additional support if you need so. Looking forward to getting to know all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, and then for those who don't have my contact information, my email is achang@manhattanbp.nyc.gov. My phone number is 212-669-4546. Sorry, 212-669-4546. And I mean, I guess for those who don't know about Brad, he's a longtime public servant who previously served as a state senator for the West Side of Manhattan. Prior to that, he was a longtime community board member for this community board and a chair for about 3 years, I believe, at least 3 years. And then, yeah, so as borough president for Manhattan, his priorities will be to focus on expanding affordable housing and protecting tenants, supporting small businesses, advocating for public school families, and strengthening the arts and culture across Manhattan. He is committed to ensuring community boards have what they need to reflect the voices of everyday New Yorkers. And it's important to note that we have launched our community board applications. They went live online on Friday, this past Friday. If you are a current community board member who's up for renewal this term, I have already emailed you. So please check your email inbox. And the applications will be open through the 27th of February. It's on the website, manhattanbp.nyc.gov. And then lastly, I want to mention this upcoming Manhattan Borough Convention. I put flyers outside. I also have flyers here. You can scan the QR code. So compared to previous State of the Borough events, this will be more of a constituent, community-focused event. We'll have participants to come in and share their ideas of how they want to shape their borough of Manhattan. We'll also have speakers and refreshments and so on, but the main focus will be on the public and community members and your ideas on how you guys want to see your borough of Manhattan. And yeah, if you want some flyers, I'll pass them around. Thank you.
Great. Any questions for Andrew? Okay, Brian.
I just want to thank the staff, Brad's staff, for arranging the interview that I had with him, and it'll be, the interview article will be in the next Village View newspaper, February issue. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Marielle, and welcome. And Nicole, I know you'd like to say a few things.
Hi, everybody.
know.
Nicole Barth from Councilmember Eric Botcher's office. Carl already gave the report, but since this looks like it's probably going to be the last time I'm up here as the representative for the council member, I just wanted to thank everybody for the 4+ years that I've had representing and liaising with Community Board 2. You all have taught me, you can't even imagine how much I learned from this group right here, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I don't know what my next move will be, but I don't think you'll get rid of me that easily. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Nicole. We're not doing any questions. Thank you. Okay, so.
Just one question, please.
Okay, I said I wasn't doing any questions because it wasn't a report, so. Yes,
May I ask a
yes.
question? Can you tell us
I'm
what's
sorry.
happening with the trees?
I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, Rosia, but you're out of turn. We're not. It wasn't a report. It was her outgoing message. So it's not a report or question to ask.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks. We do have someone from Assemblymember Grace Lee's office on Zoom. Maisie, I believe.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Maisie Zipfel. I'm with the Office of Assemblymember Grace Lee. Just quickly, as was previously mentioned, Assemblymember Lee is co-hosting a community town hall with Senator Brian Kavanaugh on February 5th from 6 to 7:30 at PS 20. Our office is also aware of the big snowstorm that is anticipated to hit New York City this weekend. We are currently coordinating with city and state officials to monitor and keep everyone safe. And NYC Emergency Management will be providing emergency updates on X at Notify NYC. You can also text Notify NYC to 692-692. Assemblymember Lee has now returned to Albany for the 2026 Assembly session, and we just wanted to mention that Governor Hochul included 2 of Assemblymember Lee's legislative priorities in her State of the State, committing to updating SNAP cards to chip technology and regulating landfills to keep forever chemicals out of our drinking water. And that's all from me.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions from board members for Maisie from the Office of Assemblymember Grace Lee? I'm seeing none. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Any other elected official or elected official representatives that I have not called on? You could raise your hand on Zoom or in the room. Okay. Thank you very much. So with that, excuse me. Next, we will go to the chair's report. So we have had a robust start to the year with Mulch Fest, which I won't go over. You already heard about the tree punt, so I won't even tell you mine. But since I'm talking about parks, I also want to make sure that this body is aware of Tricia Shiomura's appointment as the new Parks Commissioner. Previously, she was the Manhattan Borough Commissioner for Parks, and prior to that, she was in the Borough President's office overseeing community boards. So it was a robust week of events. It was at Governor Hochul's congestion pricing rally the first week of the year, with a lot of with some people that were here in this room, both from the board and from the elected offices. And then we also had the Hudson Square bid ribbon cutting for a new belly bin at Hudson and Van Dam that was named after Andy Cohen, who was there to do the ribbon cutting. So yes, in New York City, we will roll out the red carpet for you and for your trash can. So that was a fun event. as well. Today, you've already heard a lot about the SLA DOT meeting that we were at with CBs 1, 2, and 3. And I have to commend the Councilmember Epstein and Councilmember Marte for their leadership on bringing that group together again as a follow-up, and commend our leadership on these issues from Donna Raftery and Carter Booth. And SLA is looking to build a strong partnership with DOT. It's quite remarkable, and it is really from the work that Donna and Carter have done in those committees and their work. As far as Borough Board, it was absolutely invigorating this morning at 1 Center Street. Borough President Hoylman Siegel really struck a great tone this morning for where Borough Board is going moving forward. And it was a full room. His staff is now, the staff of the Borough President's office is now in person for those meetings. And it really is quite remarkable, just the conversation, and I'll go into a little bit on something there. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a really great Borough Board. We do have some new board chairs across Manhattan as well. I won't go over the applications because you heard that already from Andrew. Really important I want to speak about from that meeting is the BP's new general counsel is also fantastic. He clearly outlined the following, like verbatim, about the open meetings law and what compliance with the open meetings law means in regards to virtual participation. So in order for board members on Zoom participating in a committee meeting or participating in a full board meeting with an extraordinary circumstance form or with a disability medical waiver on file, you must be seen, you must be heard, you must be identified, all three of those in order to vote, in order to be in compliance with the open meetings law. All three of those in order to vote with either that extraordinary circumstance form or the disability waiver. So what does that mean? Your camera must be turned on, not at the end to vote, but the entire time. And so we will have to work with committee chair leadership, and committee chairs will need to work with their committees on how to manage that. So your camera must be turned on during the meeting the entire time if you are going to vote in your committee, if you're going to vote here at the full board with an extraordinary circumstance form or a disability waiver on file. So the scenes, let me just really quickly, I don't want to. So heard, you must be able to be audible. Again, outside of any technical difficulties on our end, of course. But you also must be identified, which means that the public must be able to see you, hear you, and see your name on the Zoom. So, and I think that's it on that one. I also want to take a few minutes to talk about governance, because as this board enters a new phase, how we make decisions matters just as much as what those decisions are. And some of them are very hard decisions and bittersweet. As many of you know, we are approaching a period shaped by term limits, rolling leadership transitions. This was not planned, by the way, and changes in committee composition. And that reality requires us as a board to think beyond individual terms or individual roles, and instead plan for continuity, institutional memory, and long-term effectiveness. Good governance sometimes requires making decisions that are difficult, uncomfortable, or unpopular in the short term, but necessary in the long term. These are not personal decisions. They are structural decisions made with a 5 to 10-year horizon in mind. One of the responsibilities in my role as the chair is to regularly assess whether our committee structures still reflect how the work is moving forward. Over time, it has become clear that education policy and human services are increasingly intertwined, particularly around early childhood access, enrollment, family services, and interagency coordination. For those reasons, I have made the decision to consolidate. I announced this at Executive Committee, and I know the Human Services Committee was notified about that by their chair prior to this meeting. And for those reasons, I've made the decision to consolidate the Schools and Education Committee and the Human Services Committee into a single Education and Human Services Committee. There will be a transition period during February to ensure continuity and an orderly handoff with the consolidated committee moving forward in March. And I want to be clear about something important. This decision is not a judgment on the dedication, effort, or value of anyone who has served in leadership roles or served on those committees as committee members. It is about aligning our structure with the realities of the work and the future needs of the board. As we navigate transitions like this, I also want to name a core principle of strong leadership on this board. At best, leadership is not about holding a position, it's about stewardship. It's about mentoring new leaders, sharing institutional knowledge, and ensuring that when roles change, the work does not stall and the board does not weaken. Strong boards are built when experienced leaders support continuity beyond themselves, because the institution must always come first before individual positions. I want to thank Patricia Laria and Susanna Aaron for the steadfast work they have done, and I appreciate their cooperation during this transition period. And I want to thank them for the continued cooperation and support of Juliet Kay, who has agreed to step up and lead the Education and Human Services Committee. Further details will be handled administratively, and we are moving forward. And that is the end of my chair's report this month. Thank you. I will turn it over to, I see I have a question. Rocio?
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your comments. I have a question regarding congestion pricing that you mentioned. Congestion pricing has been described as a success for this area from 59th Street down. And is it a success that many businesses have shut down? So is there a list of how many businesses in the area have shut down in the congestion pricing area? Do we know how many vacant storefronts are available?
I do not have that data, nor am I certain as to where or if that data has been collected. So I don't want to speculate on that or give a third-party characterization. Sean, a microphone, please.
I think it was the Real Deal somewhere, maybe Cranes, that Manhattan retail vacancies are at some of their lowest, and I know in Soho it's like 9%. It's record-breaking, so it seems that retail hasn't really been affected that much, negatively.
Okay, I am not an authority on congestion pricing, but if there's no further discussion, I will move it on to, we're not really having a discussion on retailer congestion pricing, nor am I prepared to give any sort of statement on that. Okay? Okay. Somebody has their hand raised on Zoom, or? Dr. Smith? We cannot hear you. Could you unmute?
I
Hi.
am unmuting.
Hello.
Give me a minute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I had my hand raised, and then when you said congestion pricing, but I was just going to say to Rozier that I know in the past that Gail Brewer did a report on not congestion pricing, but on the number of retail places that were closed in her district. But I'm not sure if it had anything to do with congestion pricing. So when you said that, that's why
Wonderful.
I lowered my hand.
Okay, thanks. Yes, and again, if, I wasn't asking for a discussion on congestion pricing. I was just merely stating the attendance at a rally that I was invited to by Governor Hochul. And so if you would like to continue the discussion amongst yourself, let's please, for everyone else's time on the board, if we could keep those discussions separate, if they're not pertaining to specific board business or specifically to something of substantial merit within the chair's report. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the treasurer's report and call on our treasurer, Anthony Wong. A microphone. Can you pass the mic? I can't give up my, because I will.
Hey, everybody. This is your Q2 treasurer's report. So it's for all expenses that have occurred since July the 1st till now. Currently, we've spent, in terms of expenses, which includes also the staff personnel, $140,497. Our targeted budget for our fiscal year ending on June 30th is $297,420. We are expected to still spend $156,900. The major bulk of our costs is basically personnel and professional services, which includes part-time Francine in our office, as well as AV services. So that's it. Any questions? None. Great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Anthony. Next, we'll go to our district manager, Mark Diller, for the district manager's report.
Thanks very much. Since we were talking about the extraordinary circumstances and the open meetings law, I just wanted to brief the board members that those forms are now available on the website under committee materials, so that if you need the forms, you don't need to contact the office to find them. Please do submit them to me and to either the chair of the board or the chair of the appropriate committee.
And always copy the secretary, please.
Okay, thank you.
And just, they're under the open meetings law in that area, correct?
Say again.
They're under the open meetings
So
law
it's committee
tab.
materials and then open meetings law, and then there's a there are two different forms, and you can.
Could we send out an email with the link?
I think I did. But,
Okay. Just as a,
but,
since they're on the
glad
website.
to do it
or-
again.
I could have missed it. Thanks.
Okay. This is where I thank people, and it is heartfelt, even if it's repetitive. I think Valentine is still here. Thank you, NYU, for making this space available to us month after month. Setup gets quicker every month because we're familiar with the space, and we are lucky to have something so close by. So thank you to Valentine and also to Dorothy and Arlene, who join in to make things available. Thank you to John, who makes the tech work. I don't think I need to remind you of how sometimes it doesn't. So I'm grateful for the professional expertise. And a quick thank you to Northwell Greenwich Village Hospital and Malik and Anna there, who make our space available to us for the SLA committees. It's really incredibly important to have spaces that accommodate us. It's even more important where they don't have a curfew and kick you out at 9 or 9:15, which people do. I can't blame them, but they do. So anyway, a couple of thank yous that way. If you happen to see these folks in passing at a meeting, you might say thanks too. We've already talked about the snowpocalypse that's coming. I would check in with the office before the Monday meeting. If there is a state of emergency declared, then the open meetings law allows for meetings to be virtual, but that would be a decision to be made by the chair and the chair of the committee, not the district manager, for example. And so just check in is the message there. Janine has already mentioned this before, but I'm going to carry on to it. The Hope Count, that's the count outdoors of homeless individuals or individuals who might be homeless. It's for this coming Tuesday, the 27th. The forecast is that it's going to be bitter cold, which might be a discouragement to taking part of it. And for my money, that's all the more reason, if you're able, to participate, because it would be a real indicator of the seriousness of the issue for someone who resists shelter, resists services, and is outdoors in single-digit temperatures. I'm going to try to do it. I've never done it before, so wish me luck. A quick note about transition. We've talked a little bit about that already. The Manhattan Borough President's Office has hit the ground running with the new administration, so we're grateful for all the time that they spend with the chair, with the district managers in groups, and with areas of interest. There is this new thing called the Office of Mass Engagement, which has seemed to absorb the Community Affairs Unit. No one quite knows exactly what's going on with that. It will have some kind of relationship with the Civic Engagement Commission. I'm a commissioner on the Civic Engagement Commission. I don't know what that is yet, so I guess that's a stay tuned. I think the Office of Civil Rights is going to be merged into that as well. The Village Interagency Task Force, which of course is instrumental in the actions in Washington Square Park, we're told it's going to continue. You may remember that there was a hugely increased police presence in the park following the October arrests and so forth. That has kind of dwindled down to 0, and now I understand we're at 2 shifts of 8 additional officers, 2 from the 6th precinct and 6 from others. So that presence continues along with a, I guess they call it a command center at the northwest corner of the park. So I guess it'll be wait and see as to whether or at what level that continues, but the work does continue. The E-Blast has details about the 120th anniversary of the Hudson Park Branch Library. A little plug for libraries there. Let's see. Those things have already been mentioned by others. The last is that tomorrow will be our first E-Blast with a February calendar. If you haven't done so already and you have an update on an agenda, please get it to me by early in the day tomorrow. Unless there are questions, that's my report. Thanks.
Thank you, thank you. And before we go to, thank you, Mark. And before we go to business session, I also wanted to point out, I forgot to add this to my report regarding the open meetings law, that the portion that authorizes video conferencing and remote participation does expire on July 1st, 2026. And so until, or if that is extended or made permanent, that is a deadline that is on the horizon. And with that, we will now move into business session. So I'll turn it over to our secretary, Emma Smith, to take a roll call.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Brian. Let's begin. Susanna Aaron. Carter Booth. Katie Bordenaro. Anita Brandt. Rich Cacapolo. Ritu Chatri.
Present.
Thank you. Nina Chen.
Here.
Thank you. Valerie De La Rosa. Chris Dignas. Arturo Fernandez. Mar Fitzgerald. I thought I saw Mar. Okay, I don't see her. Okay. We'll keep an eye out. Susan Gammy. David Gruber.
Present.
Thanks, David. JJ Herrera. Still not here. DJ Jane. Juliet Kay. Susan Kent. Ryder Kessler. Janine Kiley. Patricia Laria. Patricia, I see you. Janet Liff. Benjamin Listman. Ed Ma. I see you, Ed. Thank you. Paul McDade. Erica Olson. Brian Pape. Donna Raftery. Bo Riccobono. Rocio Sands. Shirley Secunda. Eddie Siegel. Frederica Siegel. Emma Smith, present. Dr. Shirley Smith.
Present.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Chenault Spence.
Here.
Thanks, Chenault. Sean Sweeney. Here. Susan Wittenberg. Here. Anthony Wong. Here. Eugene Yu. Here. Is Mar Fitzgerald here? Okay, thanks, folks. We still have quorum.
Thank you, Emma. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, is there a motion to approve the December full board minutes? Okay, so I couldn't hear, okay, I couldn't hear who had it first, or I'll say Shirley Secunda first and Susan Kent, because that's who I can see for that. So moving forward, we have resolutions from standing committees. So first we have the executive committee, and to myself right now and to the rest of the committee chairs giving reports. Please state the therefore be it resolved, only state that therefore be it resolved in your resolution. We are operating with the sense that board members have read the resolutions in the full board packet, and please limit the remarks, if any inside things or whatnot, please let the body and the members ask the questions where then you can go further into that. So we can move this along. So, and that is a note to myself right now. So if you look in your packets, we have 2 resolutions that were adopted at the executive committee on Tuesday. And so we have the first one is a resolution endorsing increased support for New York City Health and Hospitals, Bellevue and city and state and city budgets. So the therefore be it resolved that Manhattan Community Board 2 supports the positions of the New York City Health and Hospitals Bellevue Community Advisory Board and asks that our elected officials advocate for the following: make permanent the fee for service upper pay limit, I'm just going to read the bold if that's okay, make permanent the telehealth parity law, and support an overall increase in Medicaid reimbursement rates for safety net providers. There is not a vote count on here for that specific one, but if I recall, it was unanimous. So we will get that. Added in. I do see that is missing there. So let's take that one, and then we'll move to the second one. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Okay, seeing none. Is there any unwillingness to vote on this resolution endorsing increased support for Bellevue and state and city budgets? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? The motion passes unanimously. Next, the second resolution is a resolution concerning the application to demolish the existing building at 139 Thompson Street and construct a new 6-story residential building. Now, this is a joint resolution. It is a joint resolution. You can read each separate resolution from the Landmarks Committee in your packet and the Land Use Committee in your packet. Underneath those reports, the sections. The discussion and the ultimate what was voted on and recommended by the executive committee, which is what is being presented here, is a joint resolution regarding that with a landmarks and land use with one unified board position. Suzanne, and so 1 second, I need to read the therefore be it resolved before we can go to discussion. So therefore be it resolved that CB2 Manhattan recommends denial of the application for complete demolition unless the Landmarks Preservation Commission affirms that restoration is impossible and that no part of the building, the facade in particular, can be preserved. Denial of the application for demolition unless the commission verifies that the building owner bears no responsibility for the current deteriorated condition and can rule out that this is demolition by neglect. That if it is determined that this is an instance of demolition by neglect, that the applicant is brought to account. Denial of the application unless the commission verifies that there were no irregularities concerning the vacating of the building by the last tenants and that there is adequate proof that the elimination of the 12 regulated apartments is in order, and that in this unusual case, the application for demolition, in particular the reduction of the number of rent-regulated apartments, be examined for worthiness at the highest levels of all agencies involved as enumerated in whereas clause P above, and that the commission consider any violations found by these agencies in its determination of demolition. In the event that it is determined that the demolition is the only solution and a new building is to be constructed, approval of the front, side, and rear facades, excepting the storefront and windows on the front upper floors, denial of the storefront, and in view that the building is to be reconstructed, that the original residential tenement design be used, and denial of the tilt and turn windows as disturbing the historic design of the building, and recommends that the windows have the appearance in any position of historic double hung design, and approval of the penthouse and bulkhead. Unanimous in favor was the vote at executive committee. Is there any discussion? Susanna Aaron, then we'll go to Rocio, and then Janet Liff. So I've called on 3 individuals. If we could get these 3 board members microphones, we can move this along.
Hi there, I was confused when you said that it was a joint resolution because I see a separate resolution by the Land Use Committee, right?
So this joint resolution, let me just be very clear, was proposed at discussed to create from the 2 separate resolutions and have this one resolution be voted on and stand for the board's position, not the 2 individual resolutions.
So the one that we see on later pages in our board packages to be ignored, this is the,
This
okay,
would,
thank you.
but yes, if this body decides to take this to a vote and to approve it, then this joint resolution would replace the landmarks resolution in the packet and the land use
Thank you.
resolution. Thank you for that
Thank you for
clarification
clarifying.
question.
I have a comment about the whereases. I'm very uncomfortable with our reliance on village preservation. It is an advocacy organization, and I think that this body tends to forget that it is an advocacy organization. It advocates for preservation. There's never a new building it's ever liked. That's its job, is to advocate for preservation. So I'm disturbed in the whereas clauses, and I'm not disturbed by the resolution, but I'm disturbed in the whereas clauses that the spokesperson from Village Preservation gets an entire paragraph quoted. I mean, it's not clear to me why that is. And the other point I would like to make is that I think that the reduction of rent-regulated units is a serious issue citywide, but the other issue that has been of much discussed in the news is a question of the financial model of rent regulation, and there has been concern with a recent sale of a building. The distinction between a bad actor and a poor financial model is fuzzy, and I think it would be great if this body took on a more nuanced and broader discussion with not just people who are for preservation and for rent regulation, but also for people who understand the real estate market and where the challenges are for property owners to actually maintain buildings. There's a question about, if you're letting your building fall apart, is it because you're really hoping to get rid of everyone and sell it to billionaires, or is it also because you can't really make ends meet? Because these buildings don't make a lot of profit. So I think that this body would be stronger if we were better informed on the 2 sides of this financial equation, the owners and the financial challenges or the financial model for running a rent-regulated building, as well as the preservationists. That's my comment.
Great, and so I called next on Rocio and then Janet Liff.
And Rocio said that I could speak and then
Okay,
pass her the
but
mic.
I didn't.
I worked
You
it
didn't
out with
raise. I know, but
Rocio,
I didn't
that's
see your
okay with
hand.
you.
I did not see your hand raised, so I will be generous and let you go. Sure. I just saw you grab the microphone, so I didn't know what was happening.
Is this on? Okay. I agree, actually, with everything that Susanna said, but I think the conversation about the economic models requires more conversation. But I do think that we don't need to be the bully pulpit for Andrew Berman and Village Preservation. I also think that if there's some way to entitle the reso joint, even though once it's passed by our board, it's from everybody, I thought it was confusing that it represented two different committees' points of view. So I think it might confuse the recipient also. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will go to Janet Liff. Oh no, so if I'm just, if I'm going to kindly ask everyone, because now I'm having to clarify something. We can't switch the order you're called in on your own. From my point of view, that was Rocio superseded her time. She said, I assumed from you. So I'm just saying, like, this is just, and now we're having this kind of little dialogue about it. So I'm going to go to Janet Lift, then I will call on Rocio, because Janet has now waited twice to
That's
go.
what happens
So,
when you're kind.
so just, that's, if we could just, there's not, the order is the order called on. You can't hop in and, you know, make deals. I can't see out here. So next, Janet Lift, thank you for being so patient.
This is a very small point in the scheme of things. I'm supportive of, I understand the issues with the demolition and the first part. I wonder if we can separate out and take two separate votes on it, because on the part denial of the storefront in view of being constructed, not allowing it to be used for a storefront on the ground floor. Across the street, I mean, neighborhoods evolve. Soho was originally manufacturing, curing leather. Tribeca was butter and eggs and cheese. This neighborhood is a very mixed-use neighborhood, and if anything, a retail space on the ground floor contributes to the neighborhood. The matching building has retail stores, and across the street you have a pet store, a pharmacy, a food store. So anyway, I just can't vote in favor of the second half of this resolution.
Are you making, I'm sorry, I just want to be clear, Janet, you're not proposing any sort of amendment, you're just making a comment, is that correct?
Yes, and I'm wondering, can we vote on that, this in the event part separately from the first part?
I think you need to make, we need to entertain a motion to strike. That's how we can't divide what was voted on at a committee into two.
Okay, so then I would just make a motion to strike, I'm sorry, it disappeared here, the part about not allowing a retail store on the ground
Hold
floor.
on, let me just go to that on G.
G.
Okay, so what is on the floor before us right now is Janet Liff has made a motion to strike G, which is on executive page 6 of 6. G says, so Janet is making a motion to remove this phrase, G, denial of the storefront and in view that the building is to be reconstructed, that the original residential tenement design be used. So now we have a motion on the floor. I can't call on you to make a comment because we have a motion on the floor. But we can't, so this motion either is going to die right now or it's going to be second and then we can have a discussion about it. So I'm not seeing anyone making a second. Okay, so Chris Dignas is recognized for seconding the motion that Janet Liff just made, which is removing the therefore be it resolved G. So now we will have a discussion on that motion. Susan Gammy.
Yeah, there's a salient point of clarification here, which is that the Landmarks Committee is not weighing in on the use here. The applicant is the one who is proposing to not have a storefront. So if you read the actual application for 139 Thompson, you will discover that it is not actually the applicant's intention is not to have a storefront there, and that what this landmarks resolution proposes to do is to return that if there is not a store there, that the appearance of the front facade return to it what presumably was its original tenement condition, rather than to have some sort of Disneyland faux storefront when there is in fact a residence behind that window. So that is what this is about.
Thank you, Susan Gammy. And to be clear, we are talking about the joint resolution, we are not talking about a landmarks resolution. We're talking about this joint resolution, just so we can all be clear, because there are three pieces of three work products of this. So Janet, or is there any other discussion? Janet, would you like to withdraw your motion or, okay, Janine, can you get a microphone? I can't have you speak without a microphone. Thank you.
is this on? Since these two resolutions are combined, is there something that can be added to G to clarify what Susan said? So it's clear to anyone who's reading it.
That is certainly an idea. If Janet would like to withdraw her motion, then someone could propose an edit, but we have a motion on the floor that's been seconded, which is to remove G. So in order for us to edit it, we would need to, Janet would need to withdraw her motion, if that's what she so chooses to do. Okay.
But I guess that's how it goes. Well, all right, I'll see what the edit is.
Well, so it's withdrawn. So the motion to remove G is withdrawn. Okay, so the motion, okay, so again, if we speak with the microphone. So Janet has withdrawn her motion to remove G. Okay, so now Carter, I'm sorry, I called on Carter, didn't see you. So Carter?
I'm sorry, but
I did not see your hand raised. I'm sorry. I saw Carter's hand raised. Carter, could you get a microphone?
What happened to me?
Carter, I can't move this along until you get a microphone, or could someone please be of assistance? I don't think it's turned on.
Can you hear me? All right, so I wanted to make a motion to amend G. So it says denial of the storefront, and in view that the building is to be reconstructed, that the original residential tenement designed with ground floor retail be used. Or ground floor storefront. Is that just simply adding in that the original residential tenement designed with ground floor storefront or retail be used. It's just clarifying that
Could
the tenement
someone
building
text?
had
Could
a ground
you
floor
text
retail.
that so we can see it? Because I
Is that
don't even
correct
know what
for
is being.
What exists now? It's this building with the ground floor retail.
I'm not hearing.
So you're making a motion. So excuse me, Chanel, please hold till I call on you. I can't just have people speaking out, please. So Carter, you're making a motion. Can you repeat it back to me?
Trying to quickly move this along.
I know,
with a
I know.
few extra words describing what the building is. That the building is to be reconstructed, that the original residential tenement design, including ground floor storefront, be used. That's including ground, you're shaking your head no. Okay, so.
I mean, no. If there's a second,
well,
then so you're making a motion. Is there a second?
Okay, I'll just withdraw it.
I'm not telling you to withdraw it.
I'm just going to withdraw it.
Okay. Okay, Janine, could we get Janine a microphone? Please, so let me repeat the motion just very quickly. So Janine is making a motion to add the following words to G, the therefore be it resolved G, which is everything that is there, tenement design, after tenement design, striking be used, and to instead put including ground floor storefront, in between design and be used, adding including ground floor storefront. So adding 4 words. So that's the motion on the floor. If you're going to second, if you could be very loud. So I think Janet, that was a second. Okay, so Janet Liff seconded. G, we can now have discussion on this motion. Katie?
I guess I asked the Landmarks Committee, is that addition in accordance with your discussion and vote?
So Susan, Gammy.
find it confusing, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands that what the proposal that was in front of us was for a dummy storefront, that the use of the space just behind that storefront is not, in fact, intended by the applicant to be an actual storefront. It is intended to be a residential space. It is, and I think that this new proposed amendment to the language doesn't reflect that reality, and I think that there's a much simpler way to do it. So when it's procedurally appropriate, I can make another suggestion once we've voted on the amendment on the floor.
So we do have this, I'm sorry, Carter, would you like to, you're saying something from the back, so okay.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's part of this discussion. It's not, we still have to vote on this motion or it has to be withdrawn. So. Okay, so now Janine has withdrawn her motion. And so I'm going to go to Susan Gammy.
Okay, I
And then I'm going to call on Rocio.
just off the cuff, I would say denial of the dummy storefront in view of the, and in view of the building, and in view that the building is to be reconstructed, that the original residential tenement design be used. How about, and in view that the space behind the storefront is not to be used as a storefront. Or just, we can just say denial of.
So she's making a motion, so once, we'll have the discussion once
All right, let me
we have a
just make it as
second.
simple as possible.
Okay.
If everybody thinks this is good enough, I'm just doing this
I know.
totally as an improv here. How about just denial of the dummy storefront and leave it just at that?
So there's a motion on the floor from Susan Gammy to amend, therefore be it resolved G, where it just says denial of the dummy storefront. So we have a second from Ryder Kessler. I believe that was Ryder Kessler. So now, is there any further discussion on this motion on the floor? Katie?
The funny thing is that I think that the two apartments that he's adding on the ground floor are the only affordable ones that he's adding to the building. Is that true, Susan? Do you know that?
So Susan, I will call on Susan.
That is not known by us.
Okay?
Okay.
So again, if Janet, if you'd like to be called on, you can raise your hand and we can get you a microphone. Otherwise, people are going to not be able to hear you. I'm just trying to move this along for everyone.
My hand has been raised a great while and I have an answer.
Oh, okay. Well, Janet and then Chanel, if someone could help me with the online, and Rocio has had her hand raised for a long time now.
It's not saying no, that they can't eventually, it just can't be a dummy storefront. It's not saying they can't eventually be residential.
Is the microphone turned on? Okay. Okay. We can have training sessions on microphone speaking. I will take it as well. Chenault?
Yes, perhaps Brian would like to speak to this. Our understanding from what was said at the meeting and what grew out of it was that Brian's point is that the original design of the building had no storefront. If it were a restoration, we would have suggested restoring the storefront. And that it's being rebuilt, it's asking for an original design which had no storefront. And that's the testimony from which this clause originated.
Thank you, Chenault. Rocio, thank you for your patience.
And I suggest Brian speak about it.
Well, Rocio has her hand raised here in the room, so she's been patiently waiting now. So I'm going to call on Rocio, and after Rocio, if at that time someone else would like to raise their hand, I will call on them. But we do have this motion on the floor we're still discussing from Susan Gammy. Rocio? Is this related to the specific motion? We're having discussion on the motion, not about the overall resolution. So we're having discussion on the motion. So we need to, yes. So we have this motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion on the motion proposed by Susan Gammy for G? Is everyone clear on what we're voting on? Denial of the dummy storefront, is that correct? Or Emma had it up? Okay. All right, so is there any unwillingness to vote? Okay, so all those in favor for the amended, therefore be it resolved G, denial of the dummy storefront? All right.
Aye.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay, great. Any opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Okay, great. Now we are back to the overall joint resolution. Rocio.
Speaking pretty loud, though. Yeah, I could hear you, but they can't. Thank you. Again, I will repeat. I am a layperson, but I do have some experience in real estate and building management. How many of the people in the committee who came up with this resolution can attest that they have the knowledge and experience to be able to come to the conclusion citing in this resolution? I would like to know the date of the construction. I would like to know the DOB finally approved the demolition. I would like to know, it says that in 2007, the condition of the building was habitable when it was purchased. That there are a series of violations and evacuations issues in 2019, including that there were 19 dwellings, 12 of them regulated. The resolution states that the building has series of violations and evacuation for structural issues in 2019.
Okay, we're going to move this along. So we're going to move this along.
No,
Are you?
No, I'm not finished.
Okay.
In whereas D, it talks about the owner has over many years allowed the building to reach a point where demolition is under consideration, and there is an open court case of neglect, eliminating 12 rent-controlled apartments out of 19 units. It talks about demolition by neglect. Did the owner give the committee a rental history of the rents and expenses of running the building of this size, where regulated rents are probably too low to be able to support and maintain the building, where expenses outnumber income?
Rocio, may I ask, could you share this with, it is most productive to share these comments ahead of the resolution being presented. Perhaps it could have
The resolution is
changed
as
the outcome.
stated, right? And I'm questioning the resolution and the validity of the resolution. And that's why this is the forum for me to discuss this. Now,
Could we move it along a little bit? I'm not seeing this moving the discussion forward.
The owner of the building, where people are saying that demolition
I'm going to put a timer
right?
for 30 seconds. You can wrap
Demolition
it up.
by neglect, right? But didn't the owner make an attempt to try to save the building from being a pancake, what he says? So how come they say?
Okay, thank you, Rocio. We're going to move on. So is there any other discussion on the overall resolution? Ryder, could you get a microphone? Great, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
I support this resolution because it's framed as conditional on the reality of the owner's proposition that it is not a recoverable property, and because the scourge of unit loss and rent stabilized unit loss is so profound in our district and citywide. But I do agree with earlier points, especially what Susanna said about the need for the board to take a more inclusive view of rent stabilization and the threats to the solvency of rent stabilized units. And I think we should invite experts like from the Furman Center. They just had a great panel about the threats to the solvency of rent stabilized units. Even the Mamdani administration, which is keen to freeze rents on those units, also knows that the solvency of those units is under threat. So this is a widespread view that we should be engaging on. And I really want to reiterate or agree with the idea that Village Preservation is not an impartial arbiter of these questions. It's an advocacy organization that should be taken with a grain of salt. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryder. And Eddie.
I echo all of what Ryder said. The one new point I will add to the discussion is that there are other high cost of living cities in the United States with rent regulation that have no net loss provisions that prevent buildings after demolition from rebuilding with fewer units than existed before. This would be a policy area that I would encourage the Land Use Committee to also advocate for when we encounter situations such as this, when we're seeing a reduction in housing from a demolition.
Eddie, thank you so much. Any other discussion on the overall joint resolution that is before us on our first agenda item of our business session? Okay, Brian.
Well, as a member of the Landmarks Committee, we certainly are sympathetic to the economic conditions of any building owner. And we believe that there are many policies in place in the city that should balance out some of the things that we've talked about tonight about rent stabilized or rent controlled apartments and so forth. However, that cannot be the determinant for losing a landmark building. And so there was evidence presented to us in making these decisions and making this recommendation that in fact, in contrast to the testimony that was given by the applicant in our meeting, there was contradictory and a very reverse of the testimony that is in the public record, considering how long this owner has owned the building, how this owner has treated the tenants, and the DOB, or the Department of Buildings, regulations for maintaining a property. And those are very simple and straightforward. So this was not done without the knowledge of the history. And so this is an important issue, otherwise we're going to be losing a lot more of our apartments as well as our landmark buildings.
Thank you, Brian. Seeing that it is 8:43 p.m., is there any unwillingness to vote on this resolution as amended? Is there any unwillingness to vote? Seeing none, all those in favor for the resolution as amended? Great.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I'd like to speak.
I asked if there was any unwillingness to vote and no one said anything. We have started taking the vote, Chenault, so I apologize. We are moving along.
That's not an excuse for not seeing my hand.
It's, there's nothing, no one it's, okay. Moving along, we took, approved, was there any opposition? Any opposed? Okay. Any abstentions or recusals? Okay, seeing none. It passes. Thank you. I'm going to pass it on to land use, if you can believe it, next. Eugene, you.
Great, thank you. So it's 8:44. This will be quick. Land use now has one resolution for presentation to this board. This is a resolution on best practices for tracking and issuing changes to the city zoning resolution. I will read that therefore be it resolved. Therefore be it resolved, the CB2 Manhattan makes the following recommendations with respect to issuing changes and correction to the zoning resolution. 1, to set up a mandated review system for all administrative changes and corrections to the zoning resolution. 2, maintain a tracked changes document so that anyone can view when the changes were made. 3, allow the public to be able to access all communications regarding any text changes in order to achieve complete transparency. 4, conduct an audit of all recent changes to the zoning resolution in order to see if the changes made were in the spirit of administrative changes and corrections. 5, expeditiously review any zoning challenges, particularly in the first 3 years after the adoption of major changes to the zoning resolution. And then 6, create and follow best practices for annotating and preserving changes, including keeping annotated online versions showing the zoning resolution as of a certain date. This was voted in committee, unanimous in favor.
And there was a quorum, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. So we have one resolution on the floor.
I'd like to make a motion.
You'd like
have
to
an
make a motion? Okay,
amendment to
Donna?
it. Okay. I would like to suggest that in the first whereas, at the second line, you strike a lot of the first whereas. So it says, urban planner George Janes has studied the proposed buildings plans for 5 West 13th Street and, add a comma, strike everything else on there, and then go to number 2, eliminate the number 2. In analyzing the particular plans for 5 West 13th Street, Janes found larger, more concerning problems, and just keep going from there. So it would read, urban planner George Janes has studied the proposed building plans for 5 West 13th Street, and in analyzing the particular plans for 5 West 13th Street, Janes found larger, more concerning problems with the process for updating, and continues. And then number 3 becomes number 2.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor as stated. Is there a second? Do we have a second? Susanna Aaron has seconded the motion. Discussion on the motion. Anyone like to discuss the motion proposed that is on the floor? Is there any unwillingness to vote on the motion proposed by Donna? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor to amend the first whereas as stated by Donna Raftery? All those in favor, great. Opposed? Chenault, are you voting? Could you unmute? Could someone help Chenault unmute? Thank you. Chenault, hi.
I raised my hand in favor of, are you saying am I voted for this resolution?
Okay. Abstentions, recusals. And since that was interrupted, was there anyone opposed to that motion? I just want to make sure I got everyone. We got everyone. Okay, so the motion passes. Now we have the amended resolution on the floor. Is there any discussion on the amended resolution? Eddie Siegel?
Hey, so I'm generally supportive of some of the goals of this. The whereases are a general, general recommendations for citywide planning code and not to deal with the specific project. If I had known that the committee was interested in having a discussion on DCP rulemaking, I am the exact kind of nerd that would like to be a part of one of those discussions. So it seems to me that taking a singular appeal did not give a chance to have full discussion on these different points, mostly because I would be very curious on DCP's reaction to some of these, given that all we had heard from in the whereases is a discussion from a singular person who is appealing a specific project that has their own idea of what might be problematic here. I'm generally in supportive of all of these moves for transparency, but this does seem to be a bit rushed to me.
Eugene, thank you.
Thank you for that, Eddie. I just want to point out that the agenda for the meeting was on the calendar, and it was there for quite some time that we were going to discuss this at the January meeting. It was a continuation of a meeting that we had in December. So this is a 2-month process. So there was ample time to come in and be a part of this.
May I respond?
I really not like back and forth, but if it's something short, if you think it's going to move along otherwise if it's an offline discussion, but I will give you an opportunity. It is.
I will just say it was unclear to me that the continuation of discussion of the particular project did not imply to me that this was going to be a discussion on citywide rulemaking regulatory practice.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So is there any unwillingness to vote? Ryder, you'd like to be a
I
part
have
of
a
the discussion?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a question about, to one of Eddie's points about DCP's response and DCP's perspective on these suggestions to the rulemaking. Was their perspective solicited, and if so, what did they offer?
Well, thank you. Well, DCP was invited, and the applicant's lawyer was present.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any further discussion on the amended land use resolution? Is there any unwillingness to vote on the amended land use resolution that is before us? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Abstentions, recusal. Okay, we have an abstention. We have abstentions, if you could call them out. To get Emma the standing microphone would be helpful. I know.
Thank you. Okay.
We are trying
Abstentions
to
I
move it
have-
along, please.
From abstentions, I have Ryder. You may put your hand down. Thank you. And I have Eddie. You can put your hand down as well. Is there anyone whose name I did not call who's abstaining? Anybody online? Great. Thank you. So I have 1 no and then 2 abstentions. Thank you.
Okay. And any recusals? Okay. The motion passes. Next, we're going to go to the landmarks report. I'd like to remind, as I'm reminding all committee chairs, that we are just reading the therefore be it resolved. We do not need additional color on the meeting unless there is discussion that will be had where further information can be asked of the body to the committee chair. Chenault.
Okay, we had 2 meetings. The first one has been superseded by the previous one discussed, and that was what will be sent to the Landmarks Commission. There was a second meeting. 44 King Street.
I'm just going to quickly just clarify for everyone so there are no questions that what is being sent to the Landmarks Commission for 139 Thompson Street is the joint resolution that this body voted on. The resolution that was voted on, that is what voting on in favor of the joint resolution that came out of exec committee represents, and that is what is speaking for the board on behalf of the landmarks application and is also going to be transmitted to other bodies related to the land use portion. But it is one document that is being sent out. So there was no quorum at the first landmarks meetings, and we voted by voting on the joint resolution to replace this. So I just want to be crystal clear so there's no questions. Please continue on the second
Simply
one.
that this is the board resolution for the landmarks.
That is we only speak through the resolutions voted on by the board. We are not voting on the
I understand.
resolution.
That's exactly what I said.
Yes.
The second meeting is 44 King Street. Recommend approval of the lengthening of the top floor rear windows to match the lower floors in this exceptional instance. 29 King Street. Add operable glass doors to an existing rear yard metal and glass canopy. Recommend approval of the enclosing of an existing glass panel canopy with glass doors. 75th Avenue, and noted an individual landmark. Application is to replace the existing terracotta cornice to match the existing detailing with GFRP, which is a fiberglass forming that's used to reproduce terracotta. Recommend approval of the replacement of the terracotta cornice with GFRP molded from the original cornice, provided that the finish matches the finish of the existing terracotta detailing of the windows. 39 Bethune Street. Replace existing greenhouse on the south terrace with a modified version and to install a residential elevator abutting the east end of the greenhouse. The recommendation is for approval of the modifications to the greenhouse design and the installation of the elevator shaft, and that the glazing of the elevator shaft be inset, provided that this can be done in conformance to the safety and fire regulations. 230 West 11th Street. Construct a rooftop addition, modify the existing rear addition and rear facade windows openings, and replace windows at the front facade. The recommendation to approve the rear extension and windows for the extension and the modification of the top floor windows. Approval of the stone-clad penthouse and modifications to the rear cornice. And the last application was withdrawn. Everything was unanimous with a quorum.
Okay. So there was a quorum at this meeting, correct? Okay. So we have 5 resolutions to vote on. We can take them in a block. Is there any that anyone wants to call out? Okay. Is there any discussion on any of those? Okay. Then is there any unwillingness to vote on Landmarks 2 resolutions numbers 1 through 5? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Is there any opposed? Okay. Abstentions, recusals? Motions pass. So we will go on to the next report, which is street activities and resiliency. Is there someone here that will be giving that report?
Hello, everyone. I once again am your backup, Will and Erica today. We had 3 resolutions and we had one discussion that's missing from the report that they wanted me to bring up, which is we had hosted Department of Sanitation to talk about the new Empire bins, and we look forward to our committee fully discussing how we might discuss and bring up possible future resolutions about containerization expansion throughout the city. But we had 3 resolutions. The first was a coffee truck, I believe, from Dunkin' Donuts, which I was unanimous approve. If you'll just give me 1 second to flip over to the right section here. Yes, yeah, so we had this coffee truck, unanimous approve. The event already happened.
If you could just read the application name and then the therefore be it resolved.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Application name, Nolita Studios Duncan Collab. That was on January the 13th. And this was recommended approval, provided that the application conforms with all applicable laws, regulations, and clearance requirements. And unanimous approve. Number 2 was the TurboTax launch event, which was on the 15th. This also was a unanimous approval, and the event has happened. Both of those events, Will and Erica have checked and do not seem to have had any major complaints. The last resolution, Lexa Gates, this was a unanimous denial. And it was unclear, but Erica believes that this event was not approved by SAPO, and so we're not sure if it happened.
We could just read the therefore be it resolved.
Unanimous denial.
Okay, so we have 3 So we have, there, you did not read the therefore be it resolved, but, so we have 3 resolutions on the floor. Is there any unwillingness, or is there, unless anyone's opposed, we'll take them in a block, unless anyone wants to call any of them out. So not seeing anyone calling those out. So is there any discussion? Seeing no hands, is there any unwillingness to vote? So on street activities and resiliency, resolutions 1 through 3 as presented, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? This passed. Next, we'll go to SLA 1 and SLA 2.
Okay, SLA 1, we met on Tuesday, January 6th. We had 13 applications, 7 decisions. All decisions were unanimous. The first one, Green Street Enterprises, Inc., doing business as White Oak Tavern at 21 Waverly Place, was alteration, add an ADA bathroom and increase the bar seats, deny unless. Motec West Village LLC, 184, 186 Bleecker Street, on premise for a restaurant, Old Figaro space, deny unless. Sweet Hospitality Group LLC, 434 Lafayette Street. This is a wine, beer, and cider for a legitimate theater, previously unlicensed. That was a denial. Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club LLC at 250 Mercer Street, also known as 246 Mercer Street. It's an on-premise for a restaurant, Jazz Club, at previously unlicensed location. That was deny unless. Chacha's Bar LLC, doing business as Chacha's, 119 Mott Street, an on-premise for a restaurant. That was deny unless. This one was not unanimous. It was 6 in favor and 1 opposed. And Lafayette 126 LLC at 419 Lafayette Street on the 7th floor. This is a new on-premise for a catering establishment, previously unlicensed location, deny. And Maison Clothes, New York City LLC at 15 Watts, alteration to add a sidewalk. That was deny unless. And items 8 through 13 were withdrawals or layovers.
We're voting on items 1 through 7.
1 through 7 and
then
8 through 13.
8 through 13, the layovers and
Yeah.
withdrawals. Okay, is there, we're going to take these in a block unless there's any that this body would like to call out specifically. Eugene?
Could I just have a quick question on number 5?
So we want to call out number 5.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so can we vote on 1 through 4 and 6 through 7 and then 8 through 13, the withdrawals and the, is there any unwillingness to vote on those items in a block? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of SLA 1, items 1 through 4 and 6 through 6, 7, and then 6, 7, 8 through 13, the withdrawals and layovers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, abstentions? Recusals? Thank you very much, those pass. Now we will go to number 5, Eugene, thank you.
Thanks. I just had a quick question for Andrew, Anthony. Anthony, you voted no on this? I'm just curious why.
I thought the applicant didn't make an effort to do enough collection of signatures within the neighborhood because it's more immigrant Chinese speaking and the materials were all in English. They did claim they went to the different businesses with a friend or person that spoke Chinese with the different businesses on the storefront level, but in terms of gathering actual residences and stuff like that, I didn't think they made that much of an effort to let the neighborhood know that they wanted to go into the wee hours in terms of the hours.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Eugene. Any further discussion on SLA 1, number 5? Okay, is there any unwillingness to vote on SLA 1, number 5? Seeing none, all those in favor for SLA number 5?
Aye.
Opposed?
Anthony
Okay,
and Eugene.
all right. Abstentions? I'm sorry, are you voting? Okay, okay. Great. Abstentions, recusals on SLA 1, number 5. Okay, those pass. We go to SLA 2.
Okay, just let me say one thing, that in the beginning of the resolution, the date is wrong. It says December 2nd. It's supposed to say January. I'll send it into the office.
Thank you.
SLA2 met on Thursday, January 8th. We had 12 applications, 8 decisions. The rest were layovers or withdrawals. All decisions were unanimous. Brightling USA Inc. at 875 Washington Street. This is an on-premise bottle club in a previously unlicensed location. Deny unless. Upright Holdings 547 LLC doing business as Latau at 547 Hudson Street. This was an alteration to add sidewalk and roadway at denial. Gallo New York NYC LLC at 142 West 10th Street. This is an on-premise for a restaurant. Deny unless. Bar Penguin New York City LLC doing business as Bar Penguin, formerly known as Penguin Flagship NYC LLC doing business as Penguin at 57 West 10th Street. That's an on-premise for a restaurant. Deny unless. Charlie Boy 263 LLC doing business as Bevy's at 47 7th Avenue South, on-premise for a restaurant. Deny unless. Zimi NYC LLC at 72 Bedford. That's the non-corner space on Bedford. It's a wine, beer, cider for a tavern, previously unlicensed. Deny. Penguin Townhouse NYC LLC, formerly known as Penguin Flagship, on-premise for a restaurant. This is simply a re-notification because they changed their name. They came to us last month. We recommended approval. This was deny unless again. And then Windy Point East 2 LLC doing business as Houseman, 508 Greenwich. This was an alteration to add the roadway. Again, that was a re-notification. We had previously approved that. Appearance was waived. Deny unless. And then items 9 to 12 are layovers or withdrawals.
Thank you, Donna. We, unless there's any opposition, we'll take these in a block. Is there any that, any 1 through 8 that anyone would like to call out? Otherwise, we'll take 1 through 8 and then 9 through 12, the withdrawals and layovers to a vote in a block.
I would just like
1
to
through
call
12.
out 2. This is Ritu.
Okay, so Ritu would like to call out SLA resolution number 2. Otherwise, then if there's no other, so hold on that. So now we will take a vote on SLA 2 number 1, and then 3 through 8, and then 9 through 12, the layovers and withdrawals. Is there any unwillingness to vote on those? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions, recusals, and now we will go to number 2. That's number 2?
Yeah, I just,
Okay.
I don't want, I understand.
Ritu.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I understand the whereases and the logic of the committee. I just want to say that the operator, from my perspective, is a good operator, and that violations that may have occurred several years ago. And I'm
Thank
not
you,
trying to
Ritu.
change anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritu. Is there any further discussion on SLA 2 resolution number 2? Is there any unwillingness to vote on SLA resolution number 2? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I vote no.
Okay. Abstentions, recusals? That also passes. Now we will go to cannabis licensing.
Resolution to deny Upstate State Collective doing business as Dagmar, 66 Jane Street. Therefore, be it resolved, Community Board 2 strongly recommends the denial of the adult use retail dispensary license application for Upstate Collective doing business as Dagmar, 807 Greenwich Street, Jane Street, due to the extensive and documented issues outlined herein, and that this decision shall be deemed part of the record upon which the Office of Cannabis Management makes its recommendation to the Cannabis Control Board to grant or deny the application, 76 Section 4 of New York State Cannabis Law. Proximity to schools, parks, and other sensitive areas that make the location inappropriate to a cannabis dispensary. Its placement in a residential R6 zoning district without a commercial overlay, and the potential impact on the character and safety of the neighborhood. Be it further resolved, CB2 strongly advises that applications of this nature must meet the highest standards of transparency, community engagement, and compliance with all applicable applicable regulations, including but not limited to cannabis law, state regulations, zoning, and historic preservation, and security requirements to be considered viable. The vote was yay, deny, and there was one recusal.
And the reason for the recusal?
They had a prior a business arrangement, I think.
Okay. We'll
They worked together in the past, so that's why she had to recuse.
okay, we just need to add, let's add that to the report, so I'll reach out to get that added. Is there any discussion on the resolution, the one resolution for cannabis licensing, resolution number 1? Any discussion? Thank you, Patricia. Okay, so is there any unwillingness to vote on cannabis licensing resolution number 1? Seeing none, I will now turn over to our last vote to our secretary, Emma Smith. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, folks. Susanna Aaron. You're right. Yeah, you're right. This is the vote on cannabis. Carter Booth. Katie Bordenaro. Anita Brandt. Rich Cacapolo. Ritu Chatri.
Here.
Is your vote?
We're voting
sorry,
on
yes,
the cannabis
yes,
license
sorry.
Just checking. Thank you.
resolution.
Nina Chen.
Yes.
Valerie De La Rosa.
Yes.
Chris Dignas. Arturo Fernandez. Mar Fitzgerald.
Are you voting
Yes,
on the
on-
resolution? Yes. What's your vote? Can you state your
Thank you.
recusal? Sorry, I couldn't see you in the back. We need to state the recusal, please, for the record. Do you have a microphone? I can't see, so I can't. If we could help. Thank you.
I recused because I was associated with a license that's operating under the Dagmar name, but it is not, it's a totally different corporate entity. So it was an abundance of caution. I was not required to recuse, but I did out of that abundance of caution.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mar.
Emma?
Susan Gammy. David Gruber.
Yes.
Thank you. DJ Jane. Juliet Kay. Susan Kent. Ryder Kessler. Janine Kiley. Patricia Laria. Janet Liff. Benjamin Listman. Ed Ma. Yes. Okay, got it, Ed. Thank you. Paul McDade. Erica Olson is not present at the moment. Brian Pape. Donna Raftery. Bo Riccobono. Rocio Sands. Thank you. Shirley Secunda. Eddie Siegel. Frederica Siegel. Emma Smith. Yes. Dr. Shirley Smith.
Yes.
Chenault Spence. Thanks, Dr. Smith. Thanks, Chenault. Sean Sweeney. Susan Wittenberg. Anthony Wong. Eugene Yu. Thanks, folks. It passes.
Thank you. There is a report with that resolution. You can read it in your packets. Is there any new business? Is there any new business? Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Okay,
moved.
so
So
we'll say
moved.
Shirley and Susan. So Shirley and Susan.